Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. We are continuing our Unit 7B notes on triangle geometry. This morning we're talking about congruent polygons. Looking at the chart here of congruent polygons, you can see that A corresponds to D. Why? Because they both have the single arc in the corner. Angle B would then correlate to angle E, and C would correspond with F. Again, look at the type of arc. Do you have a single arc? Do you have a double arc? Do you have a triple arc? And that will tell you what equals what. The same thing with the markings on the sides. One mark means they go together, 2 marks means they go together, and 3 marks means they go together. You do not have to copy this chart. However, it is your benefit to go through and really take a good look at it. You've got triangles, you've got just polygons in general. This is a quadrilateral. It shows you what is equal to what. So congruent polygons. You know, if and only if their corresponding angles and sides are congruent, will they also be congruent to each other. Thus, triangles that are the same size and same shape are congruent. So, this brings us to one of our ways to prove our triangles and polygons are congruent. It's called the corresponding parts of congruent triangles are congruent. It is a very succinct statement of a theorem regarding congruent trigonometry, defined as triangles, either of which is an isometry, remember this word, of the other one. Isometry just means it is a congruent polygon. So let's take a look at this example. What we have here, we are given that angle P and angle M are right angles, right here and right here. That point R is the midpoint of PM. So right here, if that's the midpoint, that means that PR is congruent to PM. We also know that PQ is congruent to MN, and that QR is congruent to NR. So we want to prove that triangle PQR and triangle MNR are congruent. So our very first statement of angle P and angle M are right angles. We then have the second statement, angle P is congruent to angle M. How do we know that? Definition of right angles, right? The next one, angle PRQ and angle MRN are congruent. Why? Because they're what? Their vertical angles are congruent, right? That we know. Angle Q is congruent to angle N. Why? This would be the third angles theorem. Because we have found angle P and M are congruent. We also found that PRQ and MRN are congruent. Therefore, the third angle must be congruent. We are told in the given that R is the midpoint of PM. PR is congruent to MR. Why? Definition of midpoint. Right? That definition, midpoint, simply means that they are, it is the same distance from either end, and therefore they are the same. PQ is congruent to MN, and QR is congruent to NR. This was also given above. Even if it wasn't written out, we could tell by the diagram that it was in fact given. So, the triangle of PQR is congruent to the triangle of MNR. Why? Congruent parts of congruent triangles. CPTC. There we go. Congruent parts of congruent triangles are congruent. All right. Hopefully, going through this example was helpful. Give your homework a try. Be ready to ask me some questions tomorrow. And have a great day. Thanks. Bye.